Thank you.
The next commencement matter is Senator McCarthy. Senator, you have 4 minutes.
Thank you, Cathaoirleach, and thank you, Minister, and congratulations on your new role. I'd like to address an urgent and pressing challenge facing us in Ireland today, and that's the housing crisis and the unacceptable level of homelessness in Ireland. The word crisis is often used in the media to address our housing issues, yet the responses that we're showing don't resemble or reflect what a crisis is. What we did when it came to COVID or when the Ukrainian war broke out, we had joint up thinking, and it was approached as a crisis. I believe in order to solve this crisis, we must take decisive and bold action, and I think we need to streamline our housing system. Bureaucratic delays and excessive planning restrictions and slow approval processes are stalling much needed construction. We must simplify planning laws and fast-track developments that focus on social and affordable housing. Crucially, I think approved housing bodies need to be approached and be part of the strategy, because they have the expertise, the funding models, and also the community focus to deliver long-term housing solutions. The government must expand the role of AHBs and allowing fast-tracked access to financial support and reduce the red tape to allow them to build and build to scale. I think they should be central to the government strategy that prioritises permanent, affordable homes over short-term emergency accommodation, which we have seen. The latest figures, as we know, are over 15,200 people are now living in emergency accommodation, and over 4,600 of those are children. And they are not numbers, they are individuals, they are lives. So personally, I've seen it myself through my involvement with homeless services, and also through establishing an approved housing body called Tiglin. I've seen how even one person can disrupt the whole planning process for a number of years and prevent construction for so many. On the other hand, I've seen an individual coming to the Lighthouse, a rough sleeper, coming looking for help, getting supported housing, getting educational opportunities, and then last year buying their own forever home. So I know solutions are there and they can be achieved. Today I'm asking you as Minister to outline the immediate and long-term plans to address this crisis. Specifically, will the government set up a task force dedicated to overseeing the houses crisis, where all the relevant stakeholders, government departments, local authorities, advocacy groups, housing experts, could all come together and deliver real actionable solutions with clear timelines. Also, I want to know what are the solutions to accelerate construction of social and affordable housing. Can we expedite the use of vacant and derelict properties to provide immediate relief in high demand areas? And also, what additional supports are being introduced to prevent families and individuals falling into homelessness in the first place? I believe we must be ambitious in our approach, and I know you know that, and we need to remove the bureaucratic barriers that delay the housing projects and increase investment in modular and also rapid build housing, and strengthen protection for renters also. I believe the establishment of a housing task force would ensure accountability, but also coordinated action rather than fragmented efforts. So we must act now, we must act with urgency and with ambition, and I believe you have the political will to do that. Minister, I urge you to take bold and decisive action. I think the people of Ireland deserve nothing less, and I know the people in the queue outside the Lighthouse Cafe in Pearse Street, they deserve nothing less. Go Rev Mohagat. Thank you, Minister.
Thank you very much, Senator McCarthy, for raising this important issue. And if anyone understands this issue, it's you, given your work that you've done with Tiglin in dealing firsthand with people that find themselves in difficult circumstances, and I want to commend you on your work in that regard. Supporting individuals and families facing homelessness is a key government priority, I can assure you of that, and increasing the availability of emergency accommodation and permanent accommodation is a huge priority. The December 2024 homeless report shows that there were 14,864 people in emergency accommodation. That figure is obviously far too high, and I'm always acutely conscious when we're talking about this issue that there's a person and family behind each one of those figures. As a government, we're committed to preventing as many people from entering emergency accommodation as possible and speeding up the exit from those who do avail of services. In 2024, there was a 30% increase in the numbers of adults supported to exit and prevented from entering homeless accommodation. In fact, local authorities achieved nearly 9,000 preventions and exits using measures such as the increased social delivery to increase the allocations to homeless households and the tenant in situ scheme in order to prevent new entries to homelessness. But of course we need to do more as a government. Housing for All is our housing plan. It contains a suite of actions that have and continue to increase the provision of housing through accelerated supply and increasing the affordability of homes to our citizens. Increasing supply of all types of housing, be they social, affordable or private housing, remains the ultimate solution to addressing the homelessness challenges in the longer term. But looking after the most vulnerable in our society remains a top priority for this government, and will continue to support vulnerable households while we increase the new levels of housing stock required. The Department is working closely with local authorities and their NGO service partners to support households to emergency accommodation for tenancies in local authorities, approved housing bodies or the private rental market supported by the housing assistance payment. The Government is committed to a housing-led approach as the primary response to all forms of homelessness. The Programme for Government has pledged the largest social housing programme in the history of the state, building on average 12,000 new social homes per annum. The Programme for Government 2025 includes distinct actions targeted at reducing and preventing homelessness. These include measures to engage and support rough sleepers with the continued expansion of the Housing First programme, a cross-departmental approach to homeless prevention, the leasing of one-bed units to address the immediate needs of single households, a focus on social housing allocations to families who are in long-term homeless accommodation, the continuation of social housing tenant in situ programme to prevent homelessness, and the reform of the 1988 Housing Act. As you'll know, the Programme for Government 2025 also commits to fully implementing the National Youth Homelessness Strategy. This is a strategy which is in its final year and sets out 27 distinct actions to help young adults who are experiencing or at risk of experiencing homelessness. Progress on implementing the actions within the strategy continues to be made, most notably with the establishment of a housing-led intervention supported housing for youth, which is currently being piloted in the Dublin area. The Programme for Government commits to ensuring a holistic, cross-departmental approach to homeless prevention, and I can assure the Senator that Minister Brown and I will continue to work with all stakeholders in this area to ensure that we provide support for those that need it in the interim, while also ramping up our housing supply in the longer term. Thank you.
Shannon Dorr.
Thank you, Minister, and I'm excited to hear some of the interventions that you've outlined. I just want to point out that in 2016 I spoke on the other side when I wasn't a member of the House, and I spoke to the joint houses of the Oireachtas about housing, about homelessness, and about how, coming together with a task force, we can make an absolute difference here. The figures then were 6,200 people in emergency accommodation, and the then Minister said we hope to eradicate homelessness by 2020. Unfortunately, the numbers have nearly tripled since then, and I know the government has taken significant steps through the Housing for All initiatives, but the reality is clear. As you've outlined, demand continues to outstrip supply, and rents remain unaffordable for many, and even people that go for the cost rental or affordable housing don't have enough and they don't qualify. So home ownership feels like an impossible dream for many, and it seems that we're missing out on a generation of homeowners. So if we're serious in solving the housing crisis, we must be prepared to take the stronger, more urgent measures that you've outlined. Thank you, Minister.
Thank you, Senator. And look, homelessness is a complex issue, as you well know, and you know the whole of government approach is required here. That's the approach of government, and will continue in that vein. It's important to say that there has been €303 million allocated to homeless services for 2025, an additional €25 million in capital funding for the delivery of high-quality transitional emergency accommodation for individuals experiencing homelessness as well, and this will be kept under ongoing review in the context of the National Development Plan. But the likes of the programmes around Housing First, which have worked exceptionally well, I've seen them work exceptionally well in my own county of Waterford. I know they're successful, but we also need to continue to support more exits from homelessness through the increased ramp up in social housing delivery, and also the likes of the tenant in situ programme